viewers and viewesses, my name is John, Red Strategist, and welcome back to SAO Being Hunted. This is episode 232. So, as of course I said in the last episode, this is part of a big recording session, so I'm recording this straight after the last video, so if you are leaving comments, just bear in mind I won't have seen them yet as of the moment I record this. But yes, we're back here with the Badger Hunt Challenge. We've got two device pieces from this, the East Island. We have one more to find. So without further ado, we are just going to pretty much follow these friggin' wisps. Somebody outside my flat just banged what sounded like a car boot or something. It's quite loud. Yeah, it didn't sound like it was right outside my flat, but it was probably on one of the blocks of one of the houses of. What the fuck? What am I trying to say? I can't English all of a sudden. What's going on? It's probably just outside outside one of the houses. On the little road where I live. So yeah, there we are then. Oh, robots having a shootout. Okay, potential for more ammo. Because they're still banging around a little bit out there. Wonder if someone's been out shopping or something. That's probably the case. But yeah, having a big recording session today. So as of the moment I record this, obviously I've recorded the previous 2 episodes of SAO Being Hunted. I've also recorded 3 episodes of Alice Madness Returns earlier on in the day, which is good. So this is the 6th video I'm recording today, which is really awesome. I think this will probably be the last video I record for today, for this recording session though. So after that, what I'm thinking is I may move on to another game, maybe Danganronpa 2, because I could do with, recording some more episodes in that particular series. We've got a revolver, that's good. Oh, shit. Hello. Get out of it. Yo-oh. Hello. That guy just wandered right past, obliviously. Oh, hello. Get out of it, you bastard. Oh, you haven't got any ammo. Balls to you. Nope. Oh, are they shooting at each other? Or are they targeting me, or what are they doing? Okay. Just leave them, let them do their thing. Okay, fresh alarm clock, that's good. Or some stuff. I should look around for some pubs, maybe. Because that's the thing, it's the friggin' Badger Rescue Challenge. Oh, careful. Nope, he's there. Let's see you git. Okay, right. So, just wait for them to disperse. And then we'll move off down this direction, I think. Unless there's anyone down there in that particular vicinity. Which actually there is, fuck it. Okay, we'll give this whole village area kind of a wide berth, I think. Oh, who? Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck, right, sin me. Okay, take him out. He's reloading. Got him. There we are. Not had a good gunfight here in Sir for a while. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Shit, no. There's a lot of robots down there. I ideally don't want to be getting into a firefight. Because that'd be kind of bad. Okay. Just leave them. They've lost sight of me. Okay, let's keep on the move. We need to find this one remaining device piece from this island, really. And then have a look for a pub, see if there's any stuffed badgers to be had. I really do hope that there is one around somewhere. Because it will really suck if, I get to the end of this challenge, if there are a load of pubs that have generated, but none of them actually have what I'm looking for. That would suck immensely. So yeah, in the meantime, whilst we're wandering around this island, having a look-see to see what the deal is, I have something actually I do want to talk about. So, a couple of episodes ago, in the final, I think it was the final episode of my Memorial Tour, challenge, experiment, whatever you want to call it, I talked a little bit about Sword Art Online, the anime, which, I've been watching recently. So when I recorded that episode, I'd watched, I think, up to about episode 19 of the first season. I've now completed the first season. I've watched all 25 episodes. Interesting stuff. I'm going to talk a little bit about it because I had some interesting thoughts about that series. So I think I mentioned, of course, in that particular episode that Sword Art Online obviously originally started out life as a series of light novels, first published 2009. The anime, of course, that was made in 2013 and aired in that year, I think. And obviously it's taken me a while to get around to it because obviously I've said this before, I think, but I'm a bit of a latecomer to anime. I only really started out first watching anime properly, religiously, in my, well, I say religiously, not that's not the right word. Started watching anime a little bit more frequently, Is that what I should say? Yeah, that's probably a better way of summing it. I only started watching anime a bit more when I was in my early 20s, when I started university, doing my undergraduate studies, so yeah. But Sword Art Online, of course, is a pretty big deal in anime. It's a pretty massive series, massive franchise. It has a lot of fans. A lot of people really love it. And I personally am a fan of it. Having watched the first season, I really did enjoy it. And above all, the reason why I liked it is because it did engage me, and it did grip me. It did hold my attention. Oh, hello. What are you doing there? Oh, god damn it! Don't shoot. What's he doing? He's being a bitch. But yeah, Sword Art Online did hold my attention, and I did find the storyline quite engaging. So yeah, if I'm being honest, I would definitely say that Sword Art Online is now probably in my sort of list of top anime, top sort of favourite, personal favourite anime that I would recommend, my sort of go-to series. So yeah, but here's the thing, the truth is, Sword Art Online is not a perfect anime. I think I said this, back in episode 229 or whatever it was. There are flaws with this series, let's be honest. There are things which, some people didn't like about it, and I can understand those criticisms where they're coming from. Because the thing is, the first season of Sword Art Online, of course, is split into two story arcs. There's the Aincrad arc, which is in the first 14 episodes, and then there's the Fairy Dance arc in the sort of last however many episodes, up to episode 25. And the thing about the Aincrad arc is it takes place... Well, the plot line takes place over 2 years, so that's 2 years of plot that has to be kind of compressed into 14 episodes. And given, of course, that each friggin' a typical TV anime episode in Japan is about just over 20 minutes long, you're looking at just over 280 minutes where the producers have to compress 2 years of plot into that space. So, of course, it's going to inevitably feel a bit rushed. That's, an inevitable side effect. And, of course, there are other criticisms which some people do have about Sword Art Online. The protagonist, Kirito, I think he attracts a lot of criticism for being a bit overpowered. Again, I can understand that, yeah, because there are points in the series where Kirito does sort of produce these amazing skills and abilities which just manage to completely throw a fight and save the day. So yeah, I can sort of see where people are coming from with that criticism, and I can accept it. And of course, another big criticism people had, I think, not so much about the first story arc, the Aincrad arc, but certainly about the second arc, the Fairy Dance arc, was that Asuna Yuuki, the sort of leading female of Sword Art Online, obviously in the Aincrad arc we saw a lot of her, and she was very much, not obviously a protagonist in her own right, but very much a leading character in her own right. We saw so much of her, and the thing is, I really liked the Asuna character in the Aincrad arc. She, had many kind of facets to her personality, which made her very interesting. But in the Fairy Dance arc, the thing is, obviously, I've said this before in episode 229, the storyline of SAO is that everyone kind of gets trapped in this big virtual reality MMO by the producer, the developer of the MMO, and they have to sort of clear the game, and if they die in game, they die in real life. So it's this kind of death game, essentially. But, of course, at the end of the Aincrad arc and the beginning of the Fairy Dance arc, Kirito manages to escape from Sword Art Online, but back in the real world, he finds that even though he's cleared Aincrad, and even though theoretically that means everybody should have been logged out safely from Sword Art Online, the truth is that that's not happened. There are 300 people still trapped in this sort of virtual world, including Asuna. So the storyline, he basically discovers that there's a bad guy who's keeping her imprisoned in there, and so it becomes about him logging into a new game, Alfheim Online, in order to try and basically get Asuna out. And so that's the whole storyline Fairy Dance arc. And some people didn't like that, because effectively what it meant was that Asuna became, well, in their eyes, a bit of a damsel in distress kind of character. Basically kind of like a quest item to be saved by the hero. Yeah, and like I say, some people were a bit about that. They weren't keen on it. Oh god. I think they saw me then, but... Oh, get out of here, you buggers. Oh god, there's a lot of them. Shit! Shit! No, I don't know why I threw that. That was fucking pointless, wasn't it? Jesus. But yeah, so it felt a bit like in the Fairy Dance arc that Asuna Yuuki just became a complete well, not a complete damsel in distress, but a little bit of one. And yeah, so people were a bit critical of that. So naturally what it meant was that because in the storyline of that particular story arc, her character was imprisoned for the most part, it meant that naturally a bit less screen time could be devoted to her, and more screen time had to be devoted to Kirito in order to make up for that. So yeah, I think for people who had got so used to Asuna being kind of a leading female, I do think that the criticism was that they just felt that, well, they felt a bit disappointed that they couldn't see more of her there, and that she was just sort of kind of pushed into the background a bit. I mean, I don't agree with the idea that she was pushed into the background, though I do accept the criticism that, you know, for some people it won't be to their taste that she became a bit of a damsel. But yeah, thing is, my own kind of feelings towards the whole damsel in distress kind of character archetype, they're kind of complex, I'll be honest. The thing about it is, I can understand why people don't like that archetype sometimes, because you know, in its original form, it was a very outdated kind of character archetype for female characters, you know, where every female character essentially just became kind of a treasure item for the male protagonist to save and find and what have you. So yeah, in that respect, you know, criticisms of the damsel in distress archetype are kind of legitimate. Who are they firing at? Are they firing at each other? But the thing is, you know, the damsel in distress archetype can still be kind of intriguing and relevant if I think it's handled in the right way. So, you know, part I think of the problem of the original damsel in distress is that, you know, they were just kind of objects in many ways. Their characters weren't really explored. They were just objects for protagonists to have a look for the protagonist to save. And so as a result, what we got were characters who weren't really fleshed out. They, like I say, they were just objects. They had no personalities, no distinct traits or anything like that. But, you know, I think the damsel in distress character can be still interesting and intriguing if it's handled correctly. And so the way to do that, in my opinion, is don't just turn the damsel in distress into kind of, you know, a character whose only purpose is to be eye candy, whose only purpose is to be there for the protagonist to save, you know. And how do you overcome that? Well, the way to overcome that is by exploring the damsel in distress's feelings. How does she feel about her situation and things like that? And, you know, have her actually become a resourceful character in her own right. Don't just have her lying around moping and waiting for the hero to rescue her. You know, have a damsel in distress who actually actively strives to try and kind of help herself. And in that respect, you know, whilst Asuna Yuuki does become a little bit of a damsel in distress in the second story arc of SAO Season 1, I wouldn't say she's a complete damsel in distress, because at times she does try to, you know, use her own resourcefulness to actually kind of get out of her situation, even though she's not successful and ultimately Kirito does have to rescue her. You know, we do still get to explore Asuna's feelings towards her own captivity and things like that in the second half of Season 1. So, you know, whilst I do accept the criticism that she does become a bit of a damsel in distress, I would disagree that she's a complete damsel in distress entirely. You know, for me, it's kind of like a slider. You know, at one end you have a character who isn't a damsel at all, and then at the other end you have a character who basically is a complete damsel in distress, who's literally just there for the sake of being eye candy. And whereabouts Asuna comes on this slider, well, I definitely don't think she's a complete damsel in distress. I'd say she's about halfway, personally. There we are. But of course, in the end, you know, it's a happy ending for them. But one thing I will say, my God, the ending of SAO Season 1, Jesus Christ. Basically, for anyone who doesn't know, I mean, this is a bit of a spoiler here, so I'd imagine most people have probably watched SAO Season 1 by now, so, you know, fuck it, I'm just going to say it out loud. But obviously, one thing that does happen is that Asuna, in the late stages of Season 1, the bad guy literally molests her on screen in front of Kirito, which is, I think, another reason why probably people were kind of why people were critical of the second story arc and all that. Because I think, you know, for those people who were a bit pissed that she got turned into a damsel in distress, I think that scene where effectively Asuna is pretty much molested on screen by the bad guy. I think that probably was quite a kick in the teeth for them. So yeah, I can certainly understand that. But yeah, that's the thing. By the end of it though, I just wanted the bad guy so badly to just get his comeuppance. And yeah, he did, pretty much. So yeah, there you go. So my overall thoughts on SAO now that I've watched the whole first season. Very interesting thing. I definitely liked it for what it was, and I definitely found it very memorable. The thing is, for all the criticisms of it, there were things I think that it did very well. Because the thing is, you know, Asuna and Kirito, there's a romance between them, and I really did think that the romance there was handled very, very well. You know, and I did find myself genuinely caring for the characters. That's the thing, in spite of all the, you know, the flaws with the plot in terms of it being a bit rushed and all that. But yeah, so there you go. Would I recommend Sword Art Online? Definitely. And I'm thinking, I don't know, I may do a review of it over on Propagandist at some point. I don't know when I'll be able to get around to doing that, but I definitely intend to. So yeah, and I definitely also intend to get my hands on SAO Season 2. Also, maybe also the Sword Art Online Ordinal Scale movie. That's another one that I definitely want to get my hands on. I've heard that there's also another installment called Extra Edition, but I don't know. I'm not really sure if that actually adds anything. I've read about it, and apparently it's part of it is just recap of the Season 1, and then has just a random little storyline quest, in-game quest thing. But yeah, in that respect, there's nothing actually new added to the overall plot of the series. So yeah, I'm starting to ramble now about SAO. So yeah, let's wrap up here, because I want to end this episode now that I've cleared out the East Island and I'm back here at the centre. So yes, thank you for joining me then, everybody, for this episode 232 of So You're Being Hunted with me, General Red Strategist. If you're not doing so already, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter, links in the video description as always. And of course, I've just mentioned Propagandist, my second channel, a moment ago. Link to that in the video description as well, if you want to check that out. You feel free to do so. But obviously in this episode, I should just say, oh shit, bad sign. Pay attention, Red. Jesus. But yes, in this episode we talked more about SAO. I'm turning into a right Asuna Yuuki fanboy, I'll be honest. Damn it. Like I said, like I typed actually in the video description on episode 229, does this mean I have terrible taste in anime? Because that's kind of a recurrent joke with SAO. If you like it, it means you have terrible taste. But yeah, whatever. Other than that, thank you everybody, and let's wrap up here before I start rambling again. So thank you all. Hope you'll join me for episode 233 when I get around to recording that. And in the meantime, this is General Red signing off. Goodbye everybody. Oh, got him. Shit. Get off the edge. Oh, no, go. Get out of here, get out. No, get a time. Ah! That's that monstrosity finished off. Get out of there. See ya. Oh, shit, no. Fuck. I did not mean to do that. Oh, please don't do that. Shit. Stop it. Yeah. Oh lord, no. Holy crap, this area's horrible. Oh my god, I'm being shot to fucking pieces. Ah! Oh my, what the fuck? Holy shit. Holy fucking shit. Whoa, Jesus Christ. Holy shit.